Okay, let's go back into the store CloudPix fragment and let's go at the store image method. We, however, just need to add another little method that will help us, and it is called a private message of type string, not string, string called get file extensions, and it's going to accept a URI. Right, so let's start. So we're going to say we want a content resolver. Content resolver equals the get activity bit is just because we're in a fragment, get activity dot get content resolver, so we can get our hands on some of the content stored on the foam, and then we're going to say MIME type info. That was irritating, but maybe it needs to stay that way. We'll just see. We're going to say MIME type, MIME equals MIME type dot get singleton. Okay, and all of this is just to get the extension of the file. We're going to say return MIME dot get extensions from MIME type. Content resolver dot get type. And see there, URI, we're going to give it that URI. So whatever URI we pass it for wherever the file is stored on the device, we will just use the MIME type, which stands for something like multimedia, something into Exchange. I'll find that for you. But basically what we will do is we will just actually get the file extension, whether it's a JPEG, a doc, a PNG, anything like this. So now that we have that, we can actually go write the code to store this image, and we need to stick this in a try catch so that we can handle any exceptions that come our way. Just so you know, try catches are not necessarily always exception handling. You should also have if statements, and you should always handle exceptions as well as you can. Okay, so in our try block, we are going to say if image data does not equals null, and we'll get to what image data is. We are going to do the following. We're going to say final storage reference file ref equals m storage reference or m store reference dot child, and we are going to go and say system that current time in milliseconds plus a dot plus get because that was capital G dot get file extensions, and we're going to pass it image data. Right, and we just need to bring this down the line so we can see it. And what this line actually does is it will let us, we're going to push up this image, but we are giving it a very long name, which I'll show you in here. So if we go in here, you're going to see, if we go into storage, we're just creating this image name. So this is the time in milliseconds that the image was sent up, that what time it was in milliseconds, and plus the file extension. So that's all that the whole method does. So now that we have that in, we are going to try and upload our image. So we are going to say, we're going to use an upload task. We're going to call it upload task equals file ref dot put file. Image data. So we are basically saving our file. Okay, and we get image data over here. Do you guys see that URI image data equals data.get data? It's where we get the URI to the actual image we have chosen. I think we set image data all the way up here. So that's what image data is. It is the URI to the file. Right, so now that we have set and saved that image, we want to do something else. We want to get that image's URL. We want to store that URL in a different database. So to do this, we are going to say that we would like a task of type URI task. We can just call it URL task, but let's just alt and enter this. Start this again. We would like a task of type URI, and we're going to call it URL task because we want to get a URL equals upload task dot continue with task. So what we are saying here is technically while we are uploading this image, we want to continue with that task. We don't want the task to stop, and we want to do something else there. Okay. Right. And then we can say new continue with task, and it will complete quite a bit for us here quite nicely. So here we are. And what we are going to do now is in here where we say this little bit task URI, then non-null task.upload task.take snapshot. It's taking a snapshot of the image we are uploaded so that we can get our fingers on the metadata. So we are going to return file ref .get download URL. Okay, now that we have that, just showing you where it gets that from is if we go in here and we choose any one of these images, it has metadata. We want to download it and we want the download URL. Why doesn't it have any metadata? Okay, that's a problem. So let's go see for any one of these that will show us the actual download URL. It might just be this, but we are basically looking for the download URL so that we can actually access this image later. So we're going to see what the download URL looks like. Right, so now that we are back here, we are going to add an onComplete listener as well. So when the task is complete, so we're going to set add onComplete listener new onComplete listener. And what we're basically saying is, as soon as we have uploaded our image, and while we uploaded that image, that upload task, which is a task we are doing, we are going to continue with that task and we're going to go into the Firebase storage and get the download URL. What we are going to do then is when that task is complete, we're going to go check if the task was successful. So we're going to go show, and this you should have seen before, if task that is successful, we are going to do the following. We are going to say that we want a current user, which equals mauth dot get current user. So we want to go find the user that is currently logged in. We want to take our stored image URI. Did I make that guy? No. We need to go make another URI called stored image URI. Oh, it's actually a string, sorry. So we need to go make a string called stored image URI, and it will become clear why it is a string just now. So we can go say stored image URI equals task dot get result dot toString. Okay, now we actually finally have our image URI, and we're going to go say that we would like an upload ID. So we're going to say string upload ID equals myref.push.getKey. And what we're going to do next is we're going to actually push this guy up there. So let's just have a talk about what is going on here, because it is quite a lot. We go and see that we have found the URI for the image that we have chosen. We append to that URI the time in milliseconds and the file extension. We then create a task where we upload this image from that URI. So we get it on the phone using that URI, we upload it to Firebase storage. But we don't want the task to end there. So we continue with the task and we say we would like to get the download URL. And we'll talk about that in a bit. So once we have that download URL, we actually have to get it out of a task here. And it is returned as a string for us here because the download URL we're going to use in our model is also a string. And then we need an upload ID, which is myref.push.getKey. Remember, the myref there is for Firebase storage. It's for Firebase real-time database. So if we go look back up here, we have a Firebase database that we get an instance of, and then the myref is basically working with the real-time database. Okay, right. So we are now at the point that we have everything ready that we can give sort of like a primary key. We'll look at that in a minute. We have got the current user that we want to push up, and we've got the storage URI. And why do these things need to look like this? Because in the image module class, we have all of them there. So do you see their string image URL and string user ID? Okay, so let's go and finish up what we started here. So we now are going to go push and store this. So we're going to say myref.child, and we're going to say current user dot get the user ID. Because remember, we want to store this specifically to users with the user's ID. And then we're going to say dot child, and we're going to pass on upload ID, and then we are going to say set value. Oops. And what do we want to set? So we actually need to go and create an instance of our image model. So we are going to go say image model equals new image model. And we are going to pass right into the constructor. And there's one little thing we forgot. is the image name. So you see that edit text cloud image name. We just have to go instantiate that guy. Cloud image name equals view.findView. Find view by ID r.id dot et name cloud image. We just need to make sure that that is the right guy. So we're just going to go look at what we've called it. So we're going to go into fragment store cloud pics. We're going to see what we called the edit text. And that is correct. Okay, so we want to get whatever the user passes into that edit text. So we want cloud image name dot get text dot toString dot trim, because that's going to pass in for us the image name. And then I want the image URL, which is a string, and we are going to pass in as the image URL stored image URI. And we're just going to end this. And we're going to push up that entire little image. And if that has worked, we're going to make a toast. And we're going to say get context, image loader to cloud. And we're going to say cloud image pane dot set image resource, which will be r dot drawable dot photo. And we are going to say cloud image name dot get text dot clear. Right, and at the end here, we can go add an unfailure listener. If we just want to know what went wrong, new, oopsie, in the brackets, we can say new unfailure listener. And as usual, we're just going to say toast. And we're going to say get context. And we're going to say e.getMessage. And that should be it. We should be done with this. So let's run it and see what happens. And it's always fun to wait for the emulator to install the app. Right? Oh, I hate the system UI. Okay. So we can say cloud image. Let's go say we'd like to store the image. Let's go choose an image. Let's choose the little Android guy. And let's call him Droid Cloud. That cloud. Let's hit save. It's always so terrible when nothing happens. Let's go look at Firebase if something has actually stored in our storage. we haven't set either rules or set up the storage. That would explain why. So you have to come into Firebase, you have to go click on storage, and you have to set up the storage. And you have to create the bucket. We have nothing to store for. So this is a little step I forgot. You come back into Firebase, you click on storage, and you just set up your cloud storage. Now we have to wait for it to make our default bucket. So this is taking quite a while, so I'll end this video and we'll come back and look. Okay, nope, there we go. There is our storage bucket. So let's try push Droid Cloud up again. Okay, I will go see what went wrong, and I will tell you in the next video.